Before we start, I just wanted everyone to know that the very first episode in our Star Wars themed series of Caravan of Garbage is now online. It explores an alternate and New Hope timeline where the Death Star never exploded, Leia turns bad, and Yoda kills so many people. I won't spoil how, but if you haven't seen it yet, I'd check it out. Also, it's the first of 3 episodes leading up to Rogue One, the next releasing this Thursday, but a little bit earlier on Patreon, if you're keen. Okay, back on track to the thing that we're doing. Let's do it. Man, Star Wars. Isn't that a bloody thing that people like? And it's everywhere. You can't escape it. The merch, the games, the books, the comics, the TV series, the YouTube videos. But for as much Star Wars stuff there's at least that much again in cancelled projects that will probably never see the light of day. So the idea in this video is to go through 5 of those that, for better or worse, we'll probably never see in completion. And then at the end, I'll be giving away a loot crate. I don't have anything else to say about that for now, but we'll almost certainly circle back in a few minutes. Unless I forget, it's entirely possible. It's a gamble, it's a risk. You know, it is what it is. In the wake of Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm, they took a bunch of properties with limitless potential, then they stacked them up in a single room, then they took a match and used that match to kind of wedge in the lock so nobody can get in it. All the stuff's still in there, you just can't get at it because of the match. They broke it off in the lock. And Disney would do this because they do have a dark side. Just count how many characters have dead parents. Also, there's been a number of complaints leveled against the company, including that a majority of the characters over the age of 55 are portrayed in a negative light, meaning that some people have called them ageist. And you know what that makes me think? Maybe this is a good thing. Children shouldn't be told to trust every old person that they come across. I once knew an old guy and I hated him because he was a total prick, and now he's dead. And I say, good. Anyways, first up we got Star Wars Detours. That was a computer animated Star Wars series from the creators of Robot Chicken. It explored the time period between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope with the intention of focusing on minor and major characters, but at the same time not centered around any major galaxy defining moments. Just, you know, everyday stuff. Unlike Robot Chicken, it wasn't so much a series of unrelated skits, but more serialized in the sense that you'd follow the arc of certain characters every episode. It included the likes of Han Solo, Boba Fett, Admiral Akbar, the Emperor, Darth Vader, Dengar, Bosk. This show, however, didn't have the adult humor of the Robot Chicken and Family Guy Star Wars parodies.
Please, just kill me.
That's not the high ground way. I mean the Jedi way. You know what I'm saying. I'm saying I've beaten you and I'm on the high ground, so.
With creator Seth Green remarking that George Lucas thought it was too young for adults, but too old for kids, so they weren't really sure where it sat in terms of who it might be for. Personally, I don't really like it. Some of the jokes land, but other times you get something like this.
Yo dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could join it or something.
And look, to be fair, this might not be representative of the whole project. I mean, 39 episodes were completed and 62 scripts finished. The announcement though of new Star Wars meant that Disney weren't really sure of what they were supposed to do with this. Also, having it play for younger audiences might mean that kids would have this distorted view of Darth Vader that Disney might not want them to have. Seth Green though has been confident that we'll see it at some point, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Rebels and Rogue One have been painting Darth Vader as this menacing force, and maybe for now, you know, they don't want to mess with that. Also, the majority of Star Wars parodies seem to be on the back burner. I mean, there hasn't been a Star Wars Robot Chicken focused episode in quite a while, and Seth MacFarlane has stated that Disney would never allow him to make an animated prequel parody like Fox let him do with the original trilogy. I give this project 2 Star Wars out of 5 Star Wars logos for something I want to see, because I'm not really interested in it. I mean, I feel like I already covered how I feel about this, but nevertheless, this now has a rating system because I just said it, and clearly I haven't edited it out. Battle of the Sith Lords was a game outsourced by LucasArts to Red Fly that revolved around Darth Maul that went into the prototyping phase in 2010. They weren't given any direction in terms of storytelling, so off their own bat they thought that the focus should be on the origins of Maul before his appearance and dramatic weight loss in The Phantom Menace. Then, in talking with George Lucas, he suggested that the focus should be on a descendant or clone of Maul in the far future that could work with Darth Talon, a character from the comic Star Wars Legacy that focuses on the last living Skywalker, Cade. Talon and Maul would be up against Darth Krayt, Kraut and his Sith army, and the game would have heavy focus on combat, but with some stealth elements. It was also made with the intention of being different from The Force Unleashed, in that it was more violent, with more realistic lightsaber damage. Well, as realistic as a future space laser sword from the past can be, and by that of course I mean you could cut off heads. LucasArts though, they did the thing that people do when they want to end a relationship, but they don't want to quite pull the trigger, because they don't want to seem mean, that you don't want to be the bad guy. So they just didn't return any calls. Yeah, good move. That's real brave. The team were then informed by email that the project was cancelled, presumably again because of the Disney thing. The good news is, however, Redfly are keen to bring the game back, as in 2015 they were said to be producing a fully working demo to present to EA, who currently hold the rights to making Star Wars games. If that doesn't work, the thought is that they could just reskin it and name it something else. So the chances of seeing some version of this is entirely possible. I give Battle of the Sith Lords 4 out of 5 Star Warses for something I want to see, though I'd give that rating to just about any game with the satisfying use of a lightsaber. Or even a sequel to that one where you dance as Han Solo. Lobot, bloody loving life this bloke. Look at him go! Let's shift things over to the world of TV and discuss a televisual project that was so close to happening that it very nearly happened. After Revenge of the Sith, George Lucas envisioned a televisual series with the working title Star Wars Underworld that focused on the wheelings and dealings behind the scenes with this universe of pirates and bounty hunters and rogue Jedis. I mean Jedi is plural, it's like sheep. You don't say sheeps, it's the same thing. Plus there were rumors of appearances from the Emperor, Vader, and Princess Leia. Things went just full steam ahead. Scripts were written. 100 hours worth of ideas was mapped out, and with no budget in mind for each episode. So every one of them would play like a 1 hour long movie, and was said to be dark and complex in ways we hadn't seen in Star Wars before. However, things hit a snag, as producer Rick McCullen spoke of in an interview from 2012.
But right now, technologically, there's no way we could do them for the kind of $5 million mark, which would be the maximum we could do.
$5 million an episode.
$5 million an episode. And that is because there's so much digital animation, because we have so many digital characters. So I think the idea is we'll just hold off, we'll wait, see if there's any major breakthroughs in the next year or two, and just see what's going to happen. And then once we can kind of come up with either a virtual set software that works really, that allows us to travel all over the world and do stuff, then I think we'll all come back and revisit it if we're still alive.
Details are scarce in terms of what we would have seen. However, Cory Balrog, best known for his work on the God of War series, got his hands on a few scripts that focused on the backstory of the Emperor. He falls in love with and then is double-crossed by this gangster lady in a story he says nearly brought him to tears. And weirdly, it's this story that influenced the direction of God of War 4, an upcoming game featuring the God of War. It's not the fourth one because there was like a prequel one and there's been a few games. I want to say 7th. Look, I couldn't say for sure. It's, what do we... Okay, the good news is, however, it looks like Disney is still moving forward with a live-action series. There's speculation that Rebels' Dave Filoni's promotion to the head of LucasArts Animation might be overseeing this project. It's been also said that ABC have been in early talks to make this, which is completely understandable seeing as Disney owns ABC. But if this thing's going to ABC, I give this 1 out of 5 Star Wars logos. And if it doesn't go with them, then it's a 5. I want to see a Star Wars TV series. I just don't want to see a Star Wars version of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Jayla Gaia heading up a team of people I don't give a shit about. No offense to Jayla Gaia. I loved you in Water Rats, the popular 90s Australian TV crime drama set on the Sydney Harbour that I never saw. I never saw it. Last one. Hang on. Two more. God, this video is way too long. What did I say? 5. Alright, I'll keep this one brief because there's not that much information on it, but there is some information on it nonetheless. This is said information. Director Josh Trank is known for 2 things: making one of the most unique and beloved superhero movies in years, and crashing and burning so hard on his second that we'll probably never get another Fantastic Four film ever again, until Fox are contractually obligated to make one, so they begrudgingly do, or they trade the rights back to Marvel because they're bad at making Fantastic Four films. Though I don't believe he is entirely to blame for the movie's failure. I in fact made an entire video on just that. His on-set antics though appear to have resulted in him walking away from Star Wars, or at the very least being shown the door. And his Star Wars project? It was gonna be a Boba Fett film. Just weeks before the parting of ways, it was decided that Disney was to show 2 teasers at Star Wars Celebration for both of their spin-off films, and not just for Rogue One, which is what ended up happening. Now, presumably this wasn't going to have any actual footage, but more just to give an idea of tone and setting and whatnot. But of course we know that he never made that panel, and tweeted later something along the lines of, he had the worst flu of his life, and he was sorry that he couldn't make it. Brackets, I've been fired, but I can't say anything about it because it's Star Wars Celebration, and getting fired isn't really considered a celebratory experience. But I guess the question is, for me at least, do I want a Boba Fett solo film? No. But it was rumored that Michael B. Jordan would be taking on the role as, I guess, some kind of successor or impersonator. And he'd have to be, because he's not an angry New Zealand man. So from that perspective, I give this 3 Star Warses. Make it 2.5. You know what? Hell, make it 50. Who cares? This doesn't mean anything. What if I told you that episode 7 was going to be a video game instead of a movie? I'd imagine that you'd request that I presented the relevant pieces of information for confirmation on this. Am I correct? Okay, I'm happy to do that. I'll do that now. In 2004, Hayden Blackman, the man behind The Force Unleashed, proposed a sequel to Return of the Jedi, where you play as the adult son of Luke Skywalker, Ben Skywalker, in episode 7, Shadows of the Sith. This character would walk the line between light and dark, and unleash new and never seen before force powers, the likes of which had never been seen. It was only an on-paper idea, and only seemed to get as far as this logo on a page full of logos featuring games that we never saw. Boo! Though Blackman clearly carried over some ideas to The Force Unleashed. So that's great. Good on you, Blackman. And you know what? I kind of want to see this game, even though it wouldn't really work in this new canon. So I give it a big Star Wars logo out of 5. That's what this gets. Whatever that means. Alright, let's give away a loot crate. The lootiest crate there is, I am told. Here's last week's winner. Just private message me these details on my channel, and it's all yours. And if you're not that person, maybe don't send me your details. I mean, you can if you want, but if you get murdered, and I'm blamed because there's some kind of tenuous connection between us, well, there won't be any more loot crates for anyone, will there? If you want to win this week's, just leave any comment below. And that comment might be on which of these cancelled Star Wars projects you'd most like to see resurrected in one form or another. Comment below! It's a competition, but also it's designed to tweak YouTube's algorithm that's bolstered by viewer engagement, hopefully driving up views, and in turn, making Google send me more money. And that's what I'm about. And also the fans, I guess. And if you're interested, I have a podcast every Monday called The Weekly Planet, where we cover movies and comics and TV shows. That's linked below. And also don't forget about Caravan of Garbage, that episode that I mentioned. That's right there. That's a clickable link. No matter what kind of device you're on, that should work, probably. But thanks for watching this. I appreciate it. Take care.